Poor twin sisters sleep in a subway station every night. A lonely billionaire discovers the reason and starts to cry. The New York City subway was no place for unaccompanied children. Noah Matthews knew that. He also knew it was none of his business. After all, New York had its own codes of conduct, and mind your own business was at the top of the list. Even so, he couldn't help but notice them. Two little girls, always on the same blue bench on the east platform of Grand Central Station, always at the same time, 6:47 p.m., when his private train arrived, always with the same posture, sitting with legs dangling, not reaching the floor, large eyes scanning the flow of people like tiny sentinels awaiting orders. The first time, Noah just registered their presence. The second time, he found it curious. The third time, he began to wonder why two small children, the older couldn't be more than 7, would be alone in one of the busiest stations in the city. On the fourth time, he changed his routine. Noah wasn't a man who altered habits. His driver dropped him off at the same spot every morning. The private train took him directly to the building, housing the headquarters of Matthews Technologies. The same lunch arrived at his desk at 12:30 p.m., and the same train took him back at 6:45 p.m. Never 6:44, never 6:46. His clean energy technology empire was worth $23 billion, and every minute of his schedule carried that weight. But that day, he did something different. He left 2 minutes before the final meeting. "Mr. Matthews, we haven't finished reviewing the Asia numbers," said Carter, his CFO, surprised. "Finish without me," he replied, grabbing his jacket. Employees exchanged confused looks. Noah Matthews never left early, never interrupted meetings, never changed his routine. On the train, he checked his messages without really reading them. His mind was elsewhere. Why did these children bother him so much? New York had thousands of sad stories. Poverty was nothing new for someone who grew up in foster care in the Bronx and then built an empire. Maybe it was their quietness. Abandoned kids usually spoke up, asked for money, food, attention. Those two simply waited. It was 6:32 p.m. when he arrived on the platform, 15 minutes earlier than usual. He sat on the bench across from them, phone in hand to blend in. At 6:35 p.m., they arrived. The older girl held the younger one's hand with a firmness disproportionate to her small size. They wore simple, worn clothes, but they were clean. Their hair was in imperfect braids. The younger carried a small yellow backpack, while the older had a blue one with a faded unicorn design. They sat on the blue bench, placed their backpacks between them, and assumed their usual position, eyes alert to the movement, legs swinging in the air. Noah noticed something he hadn't seen before. They never spoke to anyone, not even to each other. They communicated through looks, subtle touches, almost imperceptible gestures, a secret code between sisters. The crowd passed by without noticing them, businessmen with eyes fixed on their screens, students with headphones isolating them from the world, disoriented tourists. Everyone ignored those two small figures who seemed to exist in another dimension, the realm of the invisible. When the digital clock read 7:30 p.m., the older sister pulled a crumpled cookie package from her backpack. She divided it meticulously into equal parts. They ate slowly, like people who know they must ration. Noah felt a pang in his chest he hadn't experienced in a long time. At 8:15 p.m., the younger one rested her head on her sister's shoulder. Her eyes started to close. At 9:07 p.m., the older one took a thin blanket from her bag and covered both of them. Noah remained seated, motionless. The last train left at 11:30 p.m. The station was almost empty, except for a few employees, a few drunks, a few homeless people, and him, a billionaire sitting on a station bench watching two children sleep. A security guard approached him once, but upon recognizing him, only nodded respectfully and walked away. Being one of the richest men in the city had its advantages. At 5:45 a.m., Noah was still there when they woke up. The older girl methodically organized their belongings, took the younger one to the public restroom, and they returned to the same bench. He then realized they hadn't left the station. They lived there. Noah Matthews had 3 residences, a 900-square-meter penthouse in Manhattan, a mansion in the Hamptons, and a villa in Portofino, Italy. All impeccable. all practically empty. Just him and the echo of his own footsteps. At 6:15 a.m., the station started to fill up again. The cycle began anew. Noah stood up, straightened his suit, wrinkled from the sleepless night, and walked across the platform. He stopped in front of them. The older girl instinctively pulled the younger one closer. Her eyes, brown, he noticed, the same shade as his, stared back with a mix of distrust and fierce dignity. "Good morning," said Noah, feeling strangely nervous. Multi-billion-dollar negotiations didn't make him nervous, but talking to two small children did. They didn't answer. "Are you waiting for someone?" he asked, knowing how foolish that question was. They were always waiting. The older girl remained silent, but the younger one spoke, her voice so soft that he had to lean in to hear. "Our Mum." Noah nodded, as if that made perfect sense. "Is she going to be long?" The older one finally spoke, her voice too firm for someone so little. "Mom went out to find food. She told us to wait." Noah looked around. A busy subway station. 2 kids alone. "When did she leave?" The sisters exchanged glances. The older lifted her chin. 4 days ago." Time seemed to freeze. 4 days, 96 hours, 5,760 minutes, waiting for someone who said she'd come back. Noah felt something crack inside him. It wasn't pity. He had grown up hating that look of pity in adults' eyes. It was something deeper, more visceral. Recognition. His mind traveled back 28 years. Another bench, another wait. A social worker saying, "Your mother will pick you up soon, Noah. You just have to wait a little." And he, 12 years old, believing, waiting, day after day, night after night. She never came. He felt his eyes burn, his vision blur. "Mister, are you crying?" asked the younger one, her innocent curiosity audible. Noah hadn't noticed the tears. He ran a hand over his face, embarrassed. He hadn't cried since when? He didn't remember. "It's okay," the older sister said, as if she were the one consoling him. "She'll come back. She promised." The conviction in her voice, that childish certainty that adults keep their promises, that mothers always come back, stabbed him like a knife. "What's your name?" Noah asked, his voice hoarse. "Maya," replied the older one, "and this is Luna." Luna smiled shyly, revealing a missing front tooth. "You're rich, right? Your clothes look like the men on TV." Noah looked at his crumpled Italian suit and felt ridiculous. "Yes, I'm comfortable." Maya studied him with eyes far older than her body. "If you're rich, why are you sad?" The question caught him off guard. How could that child see through decades of carefully constructed masks? "Sometimes people are sad, even if they have money," he answered honestly. Maya nodded, as if confirming something she already suspected. "Are you hungry?" Noah asked, changing the subject. Luna looked at Maya, waiting for permission. Maya hesitated, weighing options and responsibilities too big for such small shoulders. "We have cookies," she finally said, opening her backpack to show an almost empty package. "How about we have a proper breakfast?" Noah suggested, pointing to the station's coffee shop. "Your mum won't mind if you eat while you wait, right?" Maya bit her lip, calculating risks. "We can't leave this spot. What if she comes back and can't find us?" Noah felt that ache in his chest again. "I can bring the food to you then." He returned 15 minutes later with a tray of waffles, scrambled eggs, orange juice, and milk. The girls ate like they hadn't had a proper meal in days, which was probably true. Noah sat beside them in silence. Thousands of thoughts crossed his mind. Should he call the authorities? Social services? Would it do any good? Would the system that failed him actually work for them? "Are you going to tell someone about us?" Maya asked, as if reading his mind. Noah hesitated. "You can't stay here forever." "It's not forever," she argued. "Just until Mom comes back." He wanted to say maybe the mother wouldn't come back, wanted to explain that adults sometimes leave and never return, wanted to talk about waiting that never ends, but he couldn't. Not in front of those eyes that still believed. "How do you manage here?" he asked. Maya shrugged, as if surviving alone in a subway station was perfectly normal. "There's a bathroom we can use. The lady who sells coffee sometimes gives us sandwiches when she has extra. There's a drinking fountain, and we're careful with strangers." "How did you know you could trust me?" Luna answered, surprising him. "Your eyes are sad like ours." Noah blinked, disarmed by the simplicity of her observation. The station's digital clock showed 7:32 Fast under normal circumstances, he'd already be in his office, reviewing reports, leading the first meeting of the day. Instead, he was sitting on a station bench next to two orphaned girls, even if they didn't yet realize they were orphans. "I need to go to work now," he said, standing up. "But I'll come back later to see how you're doing." Maya nodded, unconvinced. "Adults always promise to come back." "You won't go anywhere, right?" he asked. Luna smiled. "We never go anywhere. We just wait." Noah felt her words like a physical blow, because he understood, he deeply understood, what it was to wait for someone who wouldn't come. When he left the station, the New York morning sun hit him with unusual force. The world outside was exactly the same as before. People rushing to work, coffee being served, horns blaring. But something had changed. For the first time in decades, Noah Matthews took a deep breath and felt more than the usual emptiness. He felt a purpose being born, unexpected and inevitable. Today he would return to that bench. And maybe, just maybe, 3 people who knew the pain of waiting could find something different together. 3 days had passed since Noah first found Maya and Luna. 3 days in which his formerly unchanging routine was completely transformed. His secretary, Diane, noticed the change immediately. "Mr. Matthews, your meeting with the Chinese investors is set for 7 tonight. Should I confirm?" she asked, peeking through his office door. Noah looked at the clock. It was 4 p.m. "Cancel," he replied, not lifting his eyes from the documents. Diane blinked, confused. Cancel a meeting with the Chinese investors? The Noah she'd known for 8 years would never do that. "Mr. Matthews, this is the Shenzhen Group. They came specifically—" "I said cancel, Diane," he interrupted, this time looking at her. "Reschedule for tomorrow morning. I have an unmissable appointment at 6. Diane nodded and left quietly. In the glass corridors of Matthews Technologies, rumors began to circulate. First, he'd left a key meeting early. Then he arrived late for the first time in years. Now he was canceling appointments. Some speculated he was ill. Others guessed he planned to sell the company. The romantics suggested that perhaps Noah Matthews, the eternal bachelor, had finally found someone. No one suspected that that someone was actually 2 small children in a subway station. At 5:45 p.m, Noah walked into the nearest department store. He felt completely out of place among teddy bears and colorful pajamas. A sales associate approached, smiling. "Can I help you, sir?" Noah realized he didn't know what to buy. What size clothes did a 7-year-old wear and a 5-year-old? "I need things for children," he said, sounding as lost as he felt. The associate laughed. "What kind of things? We have a whole section." "Blankets." He remembered how thin the blanket Maya carried was. Warm blankets, and maybe toys, books. For a boy or a girl? What age? Girls, one around 7, the other about 5. The associate's smile softened. "First time shopping for your daughters?" Noah wanted to correct her, but the word stuck in his throat. "Something like that," he muttered. 30 minutes later, he left the store carrying 2 huge bags. Inside were 2 soft blankets with star patterns, 2 small pillows, 2 teddy bears, some children's books, crayons, notebooks, and a small first aid kit. At the last second, he also added 2 flashlights. His next stop was the Italian restaurant on the corner of 5th Avenue. The owner, Mr. Rossi, knew him well. Noah often ordered takeout when working late. "Mr. Matthews?" "The usual," the robust Italian asked. "Actually, I need something different today, Antonio." "Something kids would like." The Italian raised his eyebrows. "Surprised, Mum, but asked no questions." 15 minutes later, Noah walked out with a bag containing spaghetti with meatballs, cheese ravioli, garlic bread, and 2 generous slices of tiramisu. At 6:37 p.m., he arrived at Grand Central Station. Maya saw him first. Her eyes, always watchful, spotted the tall figure in a suit crossing the platform. Disbelief flickered there as he approached. "You came back?" she said. It wasn't a question, but there was surprise in her voice. "I said I would," Noah replied, sitting down beside them. Luna, less reserved than her sister, gave him a broad smile. "Did you bring presents?" Noah looked at the bags he was carrying. "I brought a few things I thought you might need. And food? Have you had dinner?" Maya shook her head. "The coffee lady gave us a sandwich at lunch." Noah set up a small picnic right there on the station bench. He opened the containers, handed out plastic utensils, and served the girls. He watched how Maya cut the food into smaller pieces for Luna, how she checked if it was too hot before letting her eat. "You're a great sister, Maya," he commented. The girl shrugged, but a faint blush colored her cheeks. "Somebody has to look out for her." "And who looks out for you?" Noah asked gently. Maya averted her eyes. "I handle it myself." Luna, mouthful of ravioli, pointed at the bigger bag. "What's in there?" Noah opened the bag and took out the items one by one. The girls watched each object with growing fascination. Luna squealed with delight when she saw the caramel-colored teddy bear, hugging it immediately. Maya was more reserved, but her fingers brushed the new blanket reverently. "It's so soft," she murmured, almost to herself. "I thought you might be more comfortable while you wait," Noah explained, suddenly feeling awkward. Was it presumptuous to think he could improve their situation with a few items? But then Luna, with the spontaneity of a little child, reached out and took his hand. Her tiny fingers wrapped around 3 of his, a stark contrast between very small and very large. "Thank you," she said simply. Noah looked at that little hand holding his and felt something resonate inside his chest. Such a simple gesture, so natural, and so profoundly meaningful. He realized, dazed, that he couldn't remember the last time anyone had held his hand like that, with no strings attached, no contracts, no deals, no strategies, just human contact in its purest form. "You're welcome, Luna," he answered, his voice rougher than he intended. Maya watched the interaction with her sharp gaze, always vigilant, always protective. But Noah noticed a subtle change in her posture, a nearly imperceptible relaxation in her shoulders, a softening of her tense lips. They trusted him, he realized. Not completely, not blindly. Maya was too smart for that, but enough to accept his food, his presence. And he, with sudden clarity, wanted to live up to that trust. Wanted to be someone they could truly rely on. After they finished eating, Noah asked, "Do you like stories?" Luna nodded enthusiastically. Maya shrugged, but her eyes sparkled with interest. Noah picked up one of the children's books he had bought, The Bunny Who Wanted to Go to the Moon. He opened it to the first page and began to read. His voice, usually used to command boardrooms and close multi-million-dollar deals, now adapted to the adventures of a determined little bunny. He did different voices for each character, something he never imagined he could do. Luna giggled at the funny parts. Maya pretended disinterest but leaned forward to see the illustrations. Mid-story, Noah noticed Luna had snuggled closer to him. Her small body leaned against him, her head almost touching his arm. Maya remained at a cautious distance, but her eyes never left the page. When he finished the book, Luna clapped. Another one! Noah smiled. "I'll bring another tomorrow. It's getting late." Maya glanced at the station clock. "You don't live around here, do you?" "Not too far, a few minutes by car." "Then why do you stay here so late? Don't you have a family waiting?" The question caught him off guard. "No," he replied honestly. "I live alone." Luna looked confused. "But you're an adult." "Adults can live alone too, Luna," Maya explained, with the forced wisdom of someone who grew up too fast. "But it's sad," Luna insisted. Noah didn't know how to answer that. He'd never really thought of his solitude as sad. It was just the way things were, an empty apartment, silent nights, mornings with no one to say good morning. "Sometimes it is," he finally admitted. Maya studied him with those eyes that saw far beyond her years. "Is that why you keep coming here? Because you're alone too?" Noah felt the impact of that simple question. Was that why? Was he seeking company in someone else's misfortune? No, it was more than that, much more. "I come back because I care about you," he replied, surprised by his own honesty. "And because I know what it's like to wait." The words hovered between them, laden with meaning. No one spoke for a few moments, but something was shared in that silence. Mutual recognition, understanding. When Noah stood to leave, Luna clutched his arm. "You'll come back tomorrow." "I will," he promised. Maya still looked skeptical. "People always say they'll come back." Noah crouched down to her level. "Maya, I know it's hard to believe, but I'll be here tomorrow. Same time. I promise." She nodded, not entirely convinced. "We'll see." And he did come back. The next day, and the day after that. On the third day, he brought hot soup in thermoses, soap, shampoo, and new toothbrushes. On the fourth day, he arrived with fresh sandwiches and a small box of gummy candies that made Luna jump for joy. On the fifth day, he came early and read 2 complete stories. On the sixth day, Maya smiled at him for the first time. It was a small, reserved smile, as if she wasn't sure she remembered how, but it was genuine. And Noah felt as if he'd just closed the most important deal of his life. On the 7th day, when he arrived at the station, he found the girls already waiting for him, anxious expressions on their faces. "We thought you weren't coming today," Luna said, relieved. "I'm only 10 minutes late," Noah replied, checking his watch. "Maya was worried," Luna revealed, earning a reproving look from her sister. "I was not," Maya protested, but the blush on her cheeks betrayed her. Noah felt a wave of affection for them. "Sorry for being late. I had a meeting that ran longer than expected." "What do you do at work?" Luna asked, curious. Noah thought of how to explain his clean energy tech company to a 5-year-old. "I help make things that don't harm the planet so much." "Like recycling?" Maya asked. "Something like that, but on a bigger scale." "Cool," said Luna, though she clearly didn't fully understand. Over the days, his presence became part of their routine. No one asked anymore why he came. It was simply accepted that around 6 in the evening, the man in a suit would show up with food and stories. The station guards, who at first watched him suspiciously, now greeted him with discreet nods. The coffee shop lady occasionally offered the girls hot chocolate. A florist who passed by daily started leaving small bouquets of flowers. The girls, once invisible to the hurried crowd, now had a small community around them. On the 10th day, when Noah arrived at the station, he found Maya crying silently. Luna was asleep, curled up under the new blanket, teddy bear clutched to her chest. He sat beside Maya without speaking, respecting her struggle to hold back tears. "She's not coming back, is she?" the girl finally asked, her voice almost inaudible. Noah's heart tightened. He didn't have to ask who Maya meant. "I don't know, Maya," he answered honestly. He wanted to promise that everything would be fine, that her mother would return, that there would be a happy ending. But he remembered all the empty promises he'd heard as a child. "I can't promise that." Maya wiped her tears with her sleeve. "Luna still believes. Every night she says Mom will come tomorrow. What about you?" The girl was silent for a long moment. "I needed to believe. For her," she finally answered, pointing at her sleeping sister. "But every day it gets harder." Noah felt a lump in his throat. "I know how that feels." Maya looked at him with sad curiosity. "You waited for someone who never came back too?" "Yes," he said simply. "For how long?" Noah thought about the years in the foster home, always waiting, always believing he'd be the next to be chosen. Then the unanswered letters he sent to his birth mother as an adult. "Too long," he finally replied. Maya leaned her head against the station bench, looking at the ceiling. "How did you know it was time to stop waiting?" Such a big question from someone so small. Noah took a deep breath, searching for words. "I'm not sure we ever stopped completely," he admitted. "But one day I realized I could build a life beyond the waiting." Maya nodded slowly, processing. "Do you think we can?" "I'm certain," he replied, realizing he truly believed it. "You're the strongest girls I've ever met." They remained silent for a few minutes, just watching people pass by. Then Maya asked a question that would change everything. "What if we don't want to wait here anymore? Are there other places?" Noah felt a wave of hope so strong it almost made him dizzy. Yes, Maya, there are many places beyond this station. The girl looked at her sleeping sister, then at the man beside her. I think Luna would like to see those places. Noah gazed at the two girls, one asleep, clutching a teddy bear, the other awake, bravely confronting difficult truths beyond her years. They still believe, he thought, and I'd forgotten what that felt like. Not the naive belief that everything would turn out fine, but the real courage to keep going even without guarantees. To trust is even after betrayal, to love even after loss. Right there on that station bench, Noah made a silent decision. He would be present where there had only been absence. He didn't know how. He didn't know if he could. But he knew, from the depths of his soul, he wouldn't abandon them. He would stay, with them, for them. The hope he saw in their eyes, even amid so much pain, reignited something inside him he thought he'd lost forever. New York was known for sudden storms that could turn blue skies into black in mere minutes. Meteorologists had warned of this particular one, the biggest of the year, they said, but no one expected such fury. Noah was stuck in a meeting when the first thunder rumbled. From his office on the 47th floor of the Matthews Tower, he had a prime view of the spectacle. Dark clouds swallowing skyscrapers, lightning slicing the sky like cracks in a broken mirror. "Looks like we're in trouble," Diane commented, walking into his office with some paperwork. "Subway lines are already reporting delays." Noah looked at the clock. 5:38 p.m. The girls would be waiting for him. "Cancel my dinner with the Japanese investors," he said, abruptly standing. "But Mr. Matthews, they came all the way from Tokyo just—" "Tell them I have a family emergency," he interrupted, already grabbing his coat. Diane frowned, confused. A family emergency? Noah Matthews had no family. Everyone in the company knew that. "All right, sir," she replied, preferring not to question him. Noah strode across the building's main lobby with purposeful steps. Outside, the storm was already in full force. Rain fell in thick sheets, nearly horizontal in the wind. A doorman tried to hand him an umbrella, but it would be useless against that gale. "Is your car waiting, Mr. Matthews?" asked the doorman. "No, I'm taking the subway," he replied, surprising the man. "With all due respect, sir, I don't think that's a good—" But Noah was already plunging into the storm. The rain struck him like a wall, soaking his $3,000 Italian suit in seconds. The wind bit his face, and thunder boomed so close he could feel it in his chest. Normally, it took him 7 minutes to reach the entrance of Grand Central Station. Today, fighting the gale, it took almost 20. By the time he finally reached the staircase to the underground, he was so drenched that water dripped from his clothes, forming puddles at his feet. The station was in chaos. Hundreds of people were crowded inside, waiting for the storm to subside. Announcements about delays and cancellations echoed over the loudspeakers. Noah pushed through the crowd, heading for the platform where Maya and Luna always stayed. When he saw them, his heart tightened. The platform was partially flooded. The drainage system, never designed for so much water, couldn't keep up. The girls were stranded on their usual bench, which had turned into a sort of island. Water was rising around them, already a few inches deep. They were huddled together, arms wrapped around each other, visibly trembling. The blankets Noah had brought days ago were soaked, useless against the cold. Luna's face was buried against Maya's chest, the older sister's arms protectively around her. "Maya! Luna!" he called, running toward them. Maya looked up, and the relief in her eyes nearly knocked Noah over. "You came," she said, voice trembling. "Of course I did," he replied, reaching them. "You're drenched." Luna lifted her face. Her lips were slightly blue, her teeth chattering. "The ceiling is leaking," she explained, pointing above where small cascades poured from cracks in the concrete. Noah looked around. The water continued to rise. Employees rushed back and forth, trying to organize an evacuation. An announcement blared over the loudspeakers. "Attention passengers. Due to flooding, Grand Central Station will close in 30 minutes. Please proceed to the exits in an orderly fashion." He made an instant decision. "You can't stay here. Come to my place." Maya's expression was a mix of distrust and desperation. Mom said not to leave the station. Noah crouched, bringing himself level with her eyes, even though his knees sank into the icy water. Maya, look around. The station is closing. Everyone has to leave. You'll come with me just until the storm passes. Then we'll come back, I promise. The girl bit her lip, calculating her options. A deafening thunderclap made Luna scream and bury her face against her sister again. Fine, Maya finally agreed, but just until the storm's over. Noah nodded. Only until then, grab your things. Swiftly, he helped them pack their few belongings into backpacks. Luna's teddy bear was soaked and dripping. The books he'd brought were ruined by the water. Come on, little one, he said to Luna, extending his arms. To his surprise, she came without hesitation, letting him lift her. She was trembling so much he could feel the vibrations in his own body. Maya held his free hand, and the three of them began the journey out of the station. Outside, the storm hadn't weakened. Noah spotted a taxi stopping to drop off passengers and dashed toward it, still carrying Luna and pulling Maya. Upper East Side, he told the driver, climbing in quickly with the girls, Park Avenue and 73rd. The taxi driver glanced in the rearview mirror, noticing the drenched children. Crazy storm, huh? He remarked. Looks like you got caught off guard. Worse than that, Noah replied, wrapping his arms around the girls, trying to warm them. The taxi crawled through the flooded Manhattan streets. What should have been a 15-minute ride dragged into nearly an hour. Luna had fallen asleep in Noah's arms, exhausted and still shivering from time to time. Maya kept her eyes on the window, watching the submerged city. I've never been in a taxi before, she commented quietly. Noah looked at her, surprised. Never. She shook her head. Mom said it was too expensive. Another piece of the puzzle that was their life. Noah wanted to ask more, but resisted. It wasn't the time. Finally, the taxi stopped in front of an imposing Art Deco building. Noah paid the fare, leaving a generous tip, and stepped out, still carrying Luna, with Maya clinging firmly to his hand. The doorman raised his eyebrows upon seeing him with two children, but quickly composed himself. Good evening, Mr. Matthews. Good evening, Frank. I'll need some extra towels, please. Right away, sir. In the private elevator that led directly to his penthouse, Maya remained silent, taking in the new surroundings. Her eyes roamed from the marble floor to the mirrored walls to the digital panel with only one button, PHA for penthouse. You really live here? She finally asked, in a small voice. Yes, Noah replied. On the top floor. Alone? Yes. Why? It's way too big for just one person. Noah had no simple answer. Why, indeed, did he need a 900-square-meter penthouse all to himself? He'd never questioned it before. I guess I never really thought about it, he answered honestly. The elevator doors opened directly into the apartment's entry hall. Maya gave a small gasp of surprise. The space was impressive even by New York standards. Double-height ceilings, glass walls offering a panoramic view of the city, hardwood floors, minimalist and elegant furniture. It looked like something out of an architecture magazine, impeccable, luxurious, and completely impersonal. Let's get out of these wet clothes, Noah said, guiding her inside. I'll find something dry for you to wear. They followed him down a hallway to a guest room that had never been used. Carefully, Noah placed Luna, still asleep, on the king-size bed that seemed to swallow her tiny body. Will you stay with her a minute? I'll grab towels and dry clothes. Maya nodded, sitting beside her sister. She looked tiny in the enormous room, a fragile figure against the backdrop of opulence. Noah quickly gathered what was needed: soft towels, 2 of his t-shirts, which could serve as nightgowns for the girls, some warm socks. He hesitated, then also grabbed his old Columbia University sweatshirt, thinking Maya might use it as a robe. When he returned to the room, both girls were awake. Luna was looking around with wide eyes, as if she'd woken on another planet. Where are we? She asked, still drowsy. At Noah's place, Maya answered. Just until the storm passes. Noah handed them the towels and dry clothes. The bathroom's over there, he pointed. You can take a hot shower if you'd like. When the girls disappeared into the bathroom, Noah headed to the kitchen. He'd never been much of a cook, but he knew some basics. He put a pot of soup on to warm. prepared a few grilled cheese sandwiches, and heated some milk for hot chocolate. The sound of running water echoed through the apartment that, for the first time, didn't feel so empty. 20 minutes later, the girls reappeared, transformed. Their faces were flushed from the hot shower, hair damp and clean. Drowning in Noah's oversized t-shirts, they looked even smaller, but somehow more at ease. Maya had the Columbia sweatshirt on top, the sleeves rolled up multiple times to free her hands. "Better?" asked Noah. Luna nodded enthusiastically. "The shower was so warm." "And the soap smelled nice," added Maya, seeming a bit embarrassed to show enthusiasm. "Come eat," Noah invited, indicating the kitchen table where he'd set up a simple meal. They sat, eyes lighting up at the sight of the food. Luna immediately went for the hot chocolate, leaving a brown mustache above her lips. Maya tasted the soup cautiously, then began to eat with real appetite. "This is good," she admitted between spoonfuls. After they finished, Noah led them to the living room. The storm still raged outside, occasional lightning illuminating the dramatic city view. But inside, it was warm, dry, and safe. He turned on the TV, finding a cartoon channel. "You can stay here tonight," he said. "Tomorrow, when the storm is over, we can go back to the station." Luna, already curled up on the huge leather sofa, nodded absent-mindedly, hypnotized by the colorful animation on the screen. Maya, however, gave him that serious look so disproportionate to her age. "Thank you," she said simply. Noah settled into the armchair beside them, watching the two. The rain pounded against the windows with fierce intensity, but inside the apartment, a warmth that wasn't just from the heaters began to spread. Later, when the cartoon switched to an animated movie, Luna asked, "Is this your real house?" Noah smiled. "Yes, it is. It's really big. And pretty." "Thank you. You're lucky," she said, looking around. "We never had a house like this." The simplicity of her observation caught Noah off guard. "What was your home like?" he asked gently. Luna looked at Maya, as if asking permission to speak. The older girl hesitated, then shrugged as if to say, "Go ahead." "In the beginning, we had an apartment," Luna said. "It was tiny, but it had a big kitchen window. I liked watching the birds. But then we had to leave," Maya continued in a neutral tone, as if telling a story that wasn't theirs. "Mom said she couldn't pay rent anymore." "Where did you go?" Noah asked, his heart aching. "All kinds of places," Maya replied. "We stayed at a friend's place for a while, but her husband didn't like kids. Then we stayed in a shelter, but it was noisy and Mom couldn't sleep. Then..." She hesitated. "Then we lived in the car," Luna finished with that innocent honesty that knows no shame. "It was cramped, but Mom made it feel like an adventure. She said we were secret explorers." Noah felt a knot in his throat. "And after the car..." Maya looked down at her hands. "The car broke down. Mom didn't have money to fix it, so..." Her voice faltered. "So we slept in boxes," Luna exclaimed, as if it were something amazingly interesting. "You know those big refrigerator boxes? Mom would get two, one for us to sleep in and another to store our things. She'd line them with newspapers to keep us warm." The casual way she described it was devastating. Noah wanted to say he was sorry, wanted to promise they'd never go through that again, wanted to guarantee everything would be all right. But he knew empty promises wouldn't help, so he just listened. "On cold nights, we would make up stories," Luna went on cheerfully. "I was a princess in a chocolate kingdom, and Maya was the captain of a pirate ship. Mom said imagination warmed you up more than blankets." Maya gave a faint smile. "The first one that night. Luna always wanted to be the princess. And you always wanted to be the pirate," the little one retorted. "Pirates are cooler than princesses." "No, they're not." "Yes, they are." The childish argument continued, and Noah watched, fascinated that even while recounting harsh memories, they could find lightness. There was no bitterness or self-pity, just a resilience learned by never knowing any other reality. "So how did you end up in the station?" he finally asked. Maya's smile disappeared. "It was too cold on the streets. Mom took us to the station one day and said we'd just warm up a bit. We liked it there. It was warm, there were bathrooms, and some guards were nice to us, so we started staying longer. Until Mom went out to look for food, Luna said, yawning, and told us to wait. And you waited, Noah said softly. Yes, Maya replied. We're still waiting. The weight of those words hung in the air, louder than the thunder outside. Noah said nothing. There was nothing to say. He simply reached out and gently stroked Luna's hair. She was already drifting off again. Maya watched the gesture with her keen gaze. You're different from other adults, she said. How so? You don't keep saying everything will be fine. You don't make promises. Noah smiled sadly. Promises are easy to make, hard to keep. Mom made a lot of promises, Maya said, so softly he almost didn't hear. The animated film continued on TV, bright colors and loud sounds contrasting with their somber conversation. Luna was fully asleep now, curled up on the couch. Maya struggled to stay awake, heavy eyelids drooping. Get some rest, Noah suggested. You're safe here. The girl nodded, finally letting herself relax. In a few minutes, she was also asleep, her head resting on the sofa's arm. Noah fetched soft blankets and gently covered them. He watched their small forms, asleep in his living room. Two children who'd faced more hardships in their few years than many adults ever would. He sat in an armchair opposite them, just watching them sleep. The storm raged outside, but for the first time in years, his apartment didn't feel empty. It wasn't just a place to sleep between workdays anymore. What started as temporary shelter from the rain was becoming something else entirely, something he'd never truly experienced in any of his 3 luxurious residences. A home. And he, who had grown so used to his own loneliness, as one gets used to a chronic condition, felt something new growing in his chest, an affection that went beyond pity or charity, a need to protect that surpassed moral obligation. Noah Matthews, the billionaire who'd built an empire but never a home, fell asleep in that armchair, keeping watch over 2 children who weren't his, but were somehow filling the empty spaces in his life. Outside, the storm raged on, but for the first time in a long while, he didn't feel alone. 3 weeks had passed since the stormy night. The girls went back to the station the next morning, as Noah had promised, but something had changed. An invisible, undeniable bond had formed between them. Noah's visits remained daily, but now there was a routine. He arrived at 6 and brought dinner and stayed until 8. On weekends, he came earlier and stayed later. His secretary no longer questioned the fixed appointments he made at the end of each day. His co-workers grew accustomed to his new habit of leaving on time. Nobody knew that the powerful CEO of Matthews Technologies spent his evenings on a subway bench reading stories to 2 homeless children, and he preferred it that way. On that Thursday, the sky threatened another storm, not as strong as the previous one, but enough to make the air heavy and humid. Noah arrived at the station carrying extra umbrellas and a bag of Thai food. I brought pad Thai, he announced, sitting beside them. And ice cream for dessert. Luna clapped excitedly. Gradually, the younger girl had become more expressive, more childlike. In the beginning, she'd been shy and reserved, as if she'd learned not to take up space. Now she ran to hug him and chatted non-stop when he arrived. Maya, on the other hand, remained more reserved, more watchful. But even she had relaxed. She smiled more. Sometimes she even made jokes. And her eyes no longer carried constant distrust. While they ate, Noah asked about their day. It was a little ritual they'd developed that normalized the encounter, like any regular family dinner. The flower shop lady brought roses today, Luna said between bites of noodles. She said they were special yellow roses. Really? Noah replied, feigning surprise. In truth, he was the one who'd asked the florist to bring them. Yellow was Luna's favorite color. And Maya got a book from the newspaper stand guy, Luna added. About pirates. Noah glanced at Maya, who looked slightly embarrassed. He said he had an extra copy and asked if I wanted it, she explained, shrugging. No big deal. But Noah knew it was. In the last few weeks, he and Maya had discovered a shared interest in adventure stories. He'd brought her some books, and she devoured them with a hunger only someone who'd known scarcity could have. Seeing others notice that, like the newsstand owner who realized Maya liked pirates, meant they were no longer invisible. After dinner, Noah pulled a deck of Uno cards from his pocket. It was simple, but the girls loved it. Luna especially squealed every time she made Noah draw cards. Evening wore on amid laughter and playful teasing. The game ended with Luna victorious, jumping with glee. It was nearly time for Noah to leave when the first drops of rain started outside. "Looks like it's going to pour," he remarked, glancing at the dark sky at the station entrance. "Do you have to go?" Luna asked, visibly disappointed. Noah hesitated. Should he invite them to stay at his place again? Part of him wanted to. Another part feared he was crossing boundaries, creating expectations he might not fulfill. Maya, always attuned to others' emotions, sensed his internal conflict. "We'll be okay here," she said. "We've been through storms before." "I know you can handle it," Noah replied. "You're the strongest people I know." He said it without condescension, with genuine admiration. Maya noticed, and a faint blush tinged her cheeks. They remained silent for a few moments, just listening to the rain intensify outside. Noah knew he needed to leave, but his feet refused to move. Then Maya, in a rare moment of vulnerability, asked the question, "Do you live alone?" The question surprised Noah, not for its content but for its timing. They already knew he lived alone. They'd been to his apartment. But he realized that Maya wasn't asking about his current situation. She was asking about his life, his story. "Yes," he replied after a pause, "I've lived alone for a long time." "Why?" Maya persisted. "You're nice and rich," she added, with a child's bluntness. Noah gave a small smile, though it didn't reach his eyes. "I wasn't always rich," he began, surprising himself with his willingness to share. "I grew up in foster homes, many of them." Maya and Luna stared at him with wide eyes. This was new information. "Like us?" Luna asked, confused. "Similar," Noah responded. "I waited too. I waited for my mother to come back for me. She said it was just for a little while, that once she got a job and a place to live, she'd return." His voice cracked on that last part. It was a story he never shared, not even with the few friends he had. Maya watched him intently, absorbing every word. "The person I loved left and never came back," Noah continued, his gaze distant beyond the girls. "I waited for years. Every day, sitting by the orphanage door, watching every car pass by, thinking the next one would be hers. The station seemed to grow quiet, as if the place itself respected his confession." "What happened then?" Maya asked softly. "I grew up," Noah said simply. "I studied hard, got scholarships, worked long hours, built my company from scratch. I thought if I were successful enough, if I had enough money." He stopped, realizing how futile that thought was. "I thought it would fill the emptiness. It didn't." The words lingered between them, heavy as the rain pouring outside. Noah avoided looking at the girls, afraid of what he might see in their eyes. Pity, perhaps, or worse, disappointment at discovering their hero had scars as deep as theirs. Then something unexpected happened. Luna got up from her spot and, without a word, moved to Noah's side. She leaned against him, small and warm, and took his hand. Such a simple gesture, so profound. Maya didn't move immediately, but her eyes were different. There was no pity or disappointment in them, only recognition, the kind of understanding that can only come from someone who carries the same pain. Slowly, she too approached. She sat on his other side, not as close as Luna, but near enough to feel his warmth. "You were left behind too," she said. It wasn't a question. Noah felt something break inside him, something he had kept rigid and controlled for decades. Top executives didn't cry. Billionaires didn't show weakness. But there, on that station bench, between two children who had lost everything except each other, he felt the tears coming. "Yes," he whispered. "I was." Luna squeezed his hand. In a surprising move, Maya rested her head on his shoulder. None of them said anything else. They didn't need to. Something profound was shared. Something beyond words, beyond logic. It wasn't pity, or a competition over who had suffered more. It was pure recognition of a common ache. Noah realized with sudden clarity that this was the first time someone truly understood. Not like his therapists, who analyzed his trauma clinically, not like his few friends and who offered hollow words of comfort, but true understanding, born from the same wound. The rain continued to fall outside, but within that small circle formed by the three of them, a strange peace took hold. A peace that doesn't come from the absence of pain, but from the certainty of not bearing it alone. In that moment, Noah knew he would never be the same. These two children, who'd come from nowhere, had filled a space that billions of dollars couldn't reach. Now none of them were alone, none of the three. Frank Morelli's office was on the 5th floor of an old building in downtown Manhattan. A discreet sign on the door read simply, "Morelli Investigations," with no frills or grand promises. Noah had chosen Morelli because of his reputation for discretion and efficiency. A former NYPD detective, he now worked on his own, finding people who didn't want to be found. "So, Mr. Matthews, is who exactly are we looking for?" Morelli asked. Pen poised over a notepad. Noah shifted in the uncomfortable chair. It felt strange to be there. For weeks, he'd considered this decision. Calling Morelli had been harder than closing the biggest deal of his career. "A woman, I don't know her full name." "I only have the first name her daughters mentioned, Eliza." Morelli raised his eyebrows. "That's not much to go on." "I know," Noah admitted, "but there are some circumstantial details." He explained the situation. Two girls abandoned at Grand Central Station. Their mother who had left to look for food and never returned. He mentioned what he knew of their life before. The lost apartment, living in a car, nights spent in boxes. "Did they mention any specific neighborhood? Any school they attended?" the investigator asked. "Luna mentioned a rainbow school at some point, but I'm not sure if it's a real name or something she made up." Morelli typed notes. "How long have they been at the station?" "From what I understand, almost 2 months now." "And how long have you known them?" "1 month." The investigator studied Noah with a seasoned look that made guilty people squirm. "Why are you looking for the mother, Mr. Matthews?" The question caught Noah off guard, not because it was unexpected, but because he wasn't entirely sure of the answer himself. "It's the right thing to do," he finally replied. "Those kids belong to their mother." Morelli continued to watch him. "That all?" Noah took a deep breath. "I want to know if she really abandoned them or if something happened to her." "They deserve to know." The investigator nodded, seeming satisfied with the answer. "I'll need photos of the girls, full names, if possible. Maya and Luna Lopez, at least that's the surname Maya mentioned once. I don't have photos, but I can describe them." As Noah provided details, Maya, 7, dark brown hair, brown eyes, serious beyond her age. Luna, 5, lighter hair, big eyes, always smiling. He felt uneasy. He was helping find someone who could take away what had become most important in his life. "I'll start working on this right away," Morelli said, wrapping up the meeting. "I'll check schools, shelters, hospitals. If this woman's in New York and wants to be found, we'll find her." And if she doesn't, Noah thought. But he kept that question to himself. Life went on while Morelli investigated. After the rainy night, Noah convinced the girls to spend weekends at his apartment. It wasn't difficult. Memories of the hot shower, fresh food, and a cozy bed were too tempting. "Only until we find your mom," he'd said. The girls agreed, though Maya still insisted they return to the station on weekdays, just in case their mother came back. Gradually, the apartment began to change. The first transformation was subtle, a purple toothbrush and a pink one in the guest bathroom, then a small pair of slippers by the door, a children's book on the coffee table, a colorful drawing on the fridge, held up by a magnet. One Saturday morning, Noah woke to the sound of laughter coming from the kitchen, a sound his apartment had never known. He found Luna trying to make pancakes, flour everywhere, while Maya tried to help keep the batter in the bowl. "We wanted to make breakfast," Maya explained when she saw him, worried about his reaction. Noah smiled. "Can I help?" It was the first time they cooked together. Noah discovered he wasn't so bad in the kitchen when he had company. Luna was clumsy but enthusiastic. Maya, meticulous and perfectionist. He fell in the middle, balancing both extremes. When they finally sat down to eat the pancakes, some perfect and some misshapen, Noah realized he had never felt so at peace. Time passed, and Morelli called weekly with no news. No matching Eliza Lopez in any school records, no missing person reports, no leads in city shelters. "Keep looking," Noah insisted each time. On the third weekend, he bought new beds for the guest room, one with a pirate theme for Maya, another with a princess theme for Luna. When the girls saw them, Luna jumped for joy. Maya stood in the doorway, silent. "You didn't have to," she finally said. "I wanted to," Noah replied. "It's just temporary, right?" she asked, her eyes too serious for a child. Noah felt that familiar ache. "Yes, just until we find your mum." But on quiet nights, after the girls fell asleep, Noah allowed himself to think the unthinkable. What if their mother was never found? What if they stayed? The idea scared and excited him at the same time. He was dangerously attached to something he could lose at any moment. "Did they mention their father?" Morelli asked during one of his calls. "Luna mentioned once that Daddy left when I was a baby. Nothing else. I'm expanding the search to national databases. It's possible they came from another state." Noah thanked him and hung up. He glanced at the calendar on his phone. 6 weeks since he'd met the girls. 4 weeks of investigation. Time was passing too quickly and too slowly at once. One night, while they were watching a movie at his apartment, Luna suddenly asked, "Do you think Mum's watching movies too?" The question, out of nowhere, created an instant silence in the room. Maya looked at her sister with worry and sadness. "I don't know, Luna," Noah answered gently. "She really liked princess movies," continued the little one. "She said I looked like a princess." Noah felt a lump in his throat. "You really do look like a princess." Maya remained silent, eyes fixed on the TV. But Noah could tell she wasn't really watching. After a few moments, she spoke in a low voice, almost a whisper. "Sometimes I miss her smell." The simplicity of that confession hit Noah like a punch. Luna nodded emphatically. "She smelled like flowers," the younger one added. "Even when we didn't have a home, she always used those little perfume samples she got." Noah listened, absorbing every detail about a woman he'd never met, but whose absence now shaped his life. "What was she like with you?" he asked gently. Luna smiled. She told the best stories. "And she sang when we couldn't sleep." Maya paused before speaking. "Most of the time, she was good. Sometimes she'd get really sad. She'd stay in bed all day. Or get really anxious, talking fast, making wild plans. But she loved us," Luna quickly added. "She always said so." Noah nodded, thoughtful. The portrait forming was of a woman fighting her own demons, possibly mental health issues, worsened by poverty and stress. "You miss her a lot," he said, putting an arm around Luna. Maya observed him with those always perceptive eyes. "You're still looking for her, aren't you?" He was surprised. He had never mentioned Morelli or the investigation to them, not wanting to raise false hopes or fears. "How did you know?" he asked. "I heard you on the phone once," she explained, "talking about shelters and schools." Noah hesitated, then opted for the truth. "Yes, I'm looking for her. I thought you'd want to know what happened." Maya nodded slowly. "Thank you." Just one word, but laden with meaning. For the first time, Noah felt certain he'd made the right choice. The apartment continued to transform subtly. One corner of the living room now housed a toy box. The once emotionless fridge door was covered in colorful drawings. An entire shelf was devoted to children's books. Noah noticed how his vocabulary changed around them, how his posture relaxed, how he laughed more. His co-workers commented on how different he seemed, but he kept the reason to himself. The girls changed too. Luna looked healthier, her cheeks rounder, her sleep calmer. Maya smiled more, talked more, and sometimes even laughed, a rare, precious sound that Noah came to value above all else. It was striking how, in so little time, they became connected, how they started to understand each other without words, how Noah knew exactly which cereal Luna preferred at breakfast, how Maya could tell when he was worried about work, even when he tried to hide it. How Luna had the gift of making them both laugh when things felt too heavy. Sometimes, when they left the station on Friday nights, Noah would glance at them through the rearview mirror, two little heads side by side in the back seat, chatting about their day or humming songs they'd learned. And a dangerous, hopeful thought surfaced. We're a family. But then the phone would ring and it would be Morelli with another update, and reality would hit hard once more. 8 weeks after the investigation began, Morelli requested a face-to-face meeting. Noah felt a heavy sense of anticipation on the way to the investigator's office. "I have the final report," Morelli said, placing a folder on the desk. Noah stared at it without touching. "And?" "Nothing," replied the investigator with a sigh. "Absolutely nothing. We checked every Eliza or Elizabeth Lopez in the system, cross-referenced with women who have 2 daughters, expanded to all states, checked obituary records, arrests, hospital admissions, deportation cases. There's no record of anyone matching the description." "How is that possible?" Noah asked. "It's more common than you think. People who live on the margins with no documentation, no official records. Maybe it's a fake name. Maybe she never formally registered the girls. Lots of possibilities." Noah nodded, feeling a conflicted mix of emotions: sadness at the lack of answers, relief that there was no one to take the girls from him, guilt at feeling that relief. "We could broaden the search even more," Morelli suggested. "International databases, different name variants, hire more staff." "No," Noah said, surprising himself with the firmness of his voice. "That's enough." Morelli studied him for a moment, then nodded. "You did what you could, Mr. Matthews." More than most. Noah took the folder, paid the final invoice, and left the office carrying what amounted to a pile of nothing on paper. Sitting in his car, he opened the folder and skimmed the report. Pages and pages of thorough investigation leading to one conclusion. Maya and Luna's mother had vanished without a trace. Maybe she was dead. Maybe she had chosen to abandon her kids. Maybe she was too ill to care for them. They would never know, which meant, what now? Noah felt the weight of responsibility as never before. These children had no one else. Their waiting at the station had been in vain. He closed the folder and stared out the car window, watching the city bustle by. New York, a city of millions of stories, many of them forever lost, like Eliza's, a mother who left 2 daughters in a subway station and disappeared like smoke. For the first time since he'd begun the search, Noah allowed himself to accept the complete truth. She wasn't coming back. She never would. But he was here. He had found Maya and Luna when they were alone. He had cared when no one else did. "I'll stay," he whispered to himself, a promise so soft yet so powerful it felt sacred. And despite his sadness for the girls, for the closure they wouldn't get, for the unanswered questions, he also felt a renewed certainty. What began as charity, as empathy for 2 abandoned children, had become something much deeper. He picked up his phone and dialed a number he'd looked up days earlier, but never had the courage to call. "Office of Dr. Catherine Palmer, Family Law," answered a voice. "My name is Noah Matthews," he said, voice steady. "I'd like to schedule an appointment." "It's about an adoption process." He hung up and took a deep breath. The road ahead would be long and possibly difficult. There would be questions, investigations, social workers, but he would do whatever it took, because where there had been absence, he would create presence. Where there had been inexplicable pain, he would build new life. He put the folder in the glove compartment and drove home, where 2 little girls would be waiting, drawing at the kitchen table, counting the hours until he arrived, as they did every day. To them, he would be the one who comes back, the one who stays, the one who chooses to stay every single day. The Office of Child Services in New York County was located in a drab building downtown. Gray walls, plastic chairs, artificial plants, trying in vain to add life to the environment. Noah sat in one of those uncomfortable chairs, a folder of documents on his lap, waiting for his name to be called. Around him, other people waited, a young couple holding hands, an older woman with a restless child, a middle-aged man filling out forms, each with their own story, their own battle with the bureaucracy. "Mr. Matthews," called a voice. Noah rose and followed the receptionist down a corridor to a small office. Behind a cluttered desk sat a woman of about 50 with a tired expression. "I'm Marianne Cooper," she introduced herself. "Senior social worker. Please have a seat." Noah obeyed, noticing the dozens of photos of children decorating the walls, some formal, some candid, children of all ages and backgrounds. Past cases, he assumed, lives she had helped guide. "So, Mr. Matthews, I've read your preliminary information," Cooper began, opening a file on her computer. "You found 2 girls abandoned in a subway station about 3 months ago, correct?" "Yes," Noah answered. "Maya and Luna Lopez. And you've been taking care of them since?" "Initially, I visited them at the station. Then they started spending weekends at my apartment. Now they live with me full-time, although—" he hesitated. "Although with no official documentation." Cooper nodded, unsurprised. "And you tried to locate their mother?" "I hired a private investigator. He did an extensive search but found nothing. No records, no leads." "And what brings you here today, Mr. Matthews?" Noah took a deep breath. "I want to make the situation official. I want to enroll them in school, provide medical care, give them a real home, and for that, I need legal status." Cooper studied him for a moment, unhurriedly. In 2 decades as a social worker, she'd learned to read people. She'd seen all types, well-meaning but naive, manipulative seeking benefits, truly dedicated. "What do you do for a living, Mr. Matthews?" "I'm the CEO of Matthews Technologies. We develop clean energy technology." Cooper raised her eyebrows, recognizing the name. "A multi-billion-dollar company." "Yes." "Interesting," she remarked, jotting notes. "It's not every day a billionaire CEO shows up wanting to care for 2 abandoned kids." There was a hint of skepticism in her voice, but Noah wasn't offended. She was just doing her job. "I understand your concern," he said. "It must seem odd." "I've seen many odd things in this job, Mr. Matthews, some wonderful, some terrible. My job is to ensure it's the first kind." She closed the file on her computer. "I'll need to visit your home, see how the girls are doing, talk to them separately." "Of course." "And you do realize this is only the beginning of the process, right? If we move forward, there'll be psychological evaluations, background checks, interviews with people in your circle." "It's thorough," Noah nodded. "I'm prepared." "Most people say that," Cooper said with a slight smile. "Few really are." The visit was scheduled for the following Saturday. Noah spent the week preparing the girls, explaining who Marianne Cooper was and why she was coming. "Is she going to take us away?" Luna asked, her eyes wide with fear. "No, little one," Noah reassured her. "She just wants to make sure you're okay here, that I'm taking proper care of you." Maya, as always, got straight to the point. "Do you want to be our legal father?" The question, so direct, caught him off guard. "I want you to have a permanent home," he said carefully. "I want you both to go to school, have health care, be safe and happy." "That doesn't answer my question," Maya insisted, with a wisdom beyond her years. Noah smiled. "Yes, Maya. I want to be your legal father if that's what you both want too." Luna immediately jumped up to hug him. Maya stood still, but a small smile curved her lips. "I think it'd be nice," she said at last. When the doorbell rang that Saturday, the apartment was spotless. Not for show, Noah knew he wouldn't be judged by his wealth, but because he genuinely wanted to impress Cooper. "Good morning," she greeted as she stepped inside. "Thank you for coming," Noah replied, leading her in. "The girls are in the living room." Maya and Luna were waiting on the sofa, dressed in the outfits they'd chosen especially for the occasion. Luna wore a purple dress that made her tanned skin glow. Maya had chosen jeans and a navy blue t-shirt, practical, as always. "Hello, girls," Cooper said, sitting across from them. "I'm Marianne." "You can call me Mari if you like." Luna smiled shyly. Maya nodded, watchful. "I'd like to talk with you a bit. Get to know your situation better. Is that okay?" The next 2 hours were a careful dance. Cooper asked to see the girls' room, which was full of books, toys, and the themed beds. She praised the room's colorfulness, its organization, and the details that reflected their personalities. Then she asked to speak to each girl individually. Noah waited in the kitchen, tense, while Cooper spoke first to Luna, then to Maya, in private sessions in their bedroom. When the interviews ended, Cooper asked to speak with him again. The girls went to watch TV while the adults talked in the kitchen. "They seem happy," the social worker began. "I hope so," Noah replied. "Luna is very expressive. She spoke highly of you. She said you make the best pancakes in the world and that you never yell even when she spills juice on the rug." Noah smiled. "That rug needed replacing anyway. Maya was more analytical. She told me you once cancelled an important meeting to pick Luna up from the station when she had a fever, and that you don't lie about important things." High praise coming from her. Cooper nodded. "Indeed." She paused, looking around the apartment. "You have a lovely home, Mr. Matthews. More importantly, it's a loving one. That's rare." "Thank you." "There's still a long road ahead," she continued. "First, we'll consider temporary custody while we investigate further. If that goes well, we can discuss formal adoption later. What do I need to do?" "To start with, fill out a lot of forms," Cooper smiled, pulling a folder from her bag, "and attend some hearings. But the most important thing is already done, providing a safe, stable environment for them." As he signed the first documents, Noah felt a weight lifting from his chest. A weight he hadn't even realized he was carrying. It was uncertainty, he realized. The fear that at any moment someone might appear and take the girls away. "Will they have to testify before a judge?" he asked, worried. "Probably, but in a manner appropriate to their ages. Nothing intimidating," Cooper reassured him. "And based on what I've seen today, I don't foresee problems. They clearly feel safe with you." Cooper put away the documents and stood to leave. At the door, she turned back to Noah with one last comment. "You know, Mr. Matthews, in 20 years doing this job, I've learned to recognize real love when I see it. Not the romantic love from movies, but the other kind. The one built day by day through small gestures. I saw a lot of that here today." Noah felt a warmth spread through his chest. "Thank you. I'll see you soon," Cooper said as she left. "Congratulations. The family you're building here is special." After the social worker was gone, Noah returned to the living room, where Maya and Luna waited anxiously. Luna ran straight to him. "Did she like us? Can we stay?" Noah smiled, sitting between them on the sofa. "Yes to both questions. We still have a process ahead, but we've taken the first official step." Maya studied him closely. "What does that really mean?" "It means we're not just the three of us against the world anymore," Noah explained. "Now the law is on our side too." Luna didn't fully grasp this, but Maya did, her small face lit with understanding. "So now it's real," she said. "Official." "Yes," Noah confirmed, feeling the weight of those simple words. "Now it's official." What had begun as a casual encounter in a subway station, born of shared loneliness and mutual recognition of pain, now had a name, legal documents, and societal acknowledgement. The care that once existed only in the private space between them now gained a public, legal, and formal dimension. But Noah knew, as he hugged the two girls who had changed his life, that the most important part had been there long before any document was signed. The temporary guardianship process proceeded with surprising smoothness. Noah's lawyers, the influence of his name, and his obvious sincerity sped up a normally sluggish system. In 6 weeks, Judge Henderson granted provisional custody, allowing him to enroll the girls in the prestigious Riverside School, just a few blocks from his apartment. A comfortable routine began to form. Breakfast together, school for the girls, work for Noah, teacher meetings, homework at the kitchen table, family dinners. Marianne Cooper's visits became less frequent, more informal, almost like a friend of the family. It was a warm Sunday morning in spring, the first truly sunny day after a harsh winter. Sunlight poured through the apartment windows, creating golden patches on the living room floor. "It's perfect outside," Noah remarked, looking up at the cloudless sky. Luna, who was arranging a seashell collection on the coffee table, a gift from Cooper on her last visit, looked up. "Can we go to the park?" Noah smiled. "Sounds like a great idea." Maya, absorbed in an adventure book, raised her eyes. Which park? How about Central Park? There's a new playground near the lake. Luna's eyes lit up. With swings. Swings, slides, everything, Noah confirmed. Within half an hour they were ready. Luna wore a yellow dress and new white sneakers. Maya chose shorts, a t-shirt and a baseball cap Noah had bought for her. She carried a small backpack with water, snacks, and sunscreen. Maya insisted on bringing an emergency kit, always practical. The drive to the park was lively. Luna chattering non-stop about a science project at school, something about plants growing in light versus shade. Maya occasionally corrected some scientific detail, naturally taking on the role of the older, more studious sister. Noah watched them in the rearview mirror, amazed by the transformation of the past few weeks, their rounder cheeks, bright eyes, and the way they gestured excitedly while talking, life returning, blooming like the spring trees. Central Park was crowded that Sunday, families out enjoying the good weather. Noah found a parking spot and, holding hands with the girls, walked to the new playground by the lake. It was an impressive area, colorful equipment, padded flooring, spiral slides, seesaws, swings, even a small climbing wall. Luna stopped at the entrance, awestruck. Wow, Maya tried to hide it, but her eyes widened with anticipation. Go ahead, Noah said, smiling. I'll be on that bench, watching. Luna needed no second invitation. She let go of Noah's hand and ran to the swings. Maya hesitated a bit, still holding his hand. Go, he encouraged gently. Have fun. She smiled, one of those rare smiles that lit her entire face, and followed her sister. Noah sat on a bench under a large tree, perfectly positioned to see the entire playground. He watched Luna on the swing, legs kicking the air, hair blowing, face turned skyward. Maya initially stood observing the other kids, but soon the climbing wall drew her attention. With her characteristic methodical approach, Maya studied the wall before starting to climb. Noah watched anxiously, wondering if he should move closer to ensure her safety, but the girl ascended with surprising agility, quickly reaching the top. From up there, she looked for Noah's face and waved, beaming. He waved back, his heart full. On the swing beside Luna, another girl with curly hair joined in. Within minutes, they were laughing like old friends. Maya, having scaled the climbing wall, joined a slightly older girl at the spiral slide. They exchanged a few words and then climbed the steps to slide down together. An hour went by. Noah alternated between watching them and responding to occasional messages on his phone. When he looked up again, he saw something that made him put the phone away immediately. Luna and Maya were running, not just moving from one play area to another, but truly running across an open patch of grass beside the playground. Running the way children should, free, unconcerned, wild in their joy. Luna led, arms out like wings, head thrown back in laughter that Noah could hear even from a distance. Maya followed, normally so reserved, now loose, her hair escaping the cap, her smile so wide it nearly overflowed her face. That was when Noah realized what was different. Since the day he'd met them, there had been something in the girls, especially Maya, that he deeply recognized. Constant vigilance. That look that always checked the exits, stayed alert to who came in, always scanning, waiting. They carried that waiting in their bodies, in their eyes, in the way they perched on the edge of the bench, ready to stand if needed. Now, for the first time, they weren't looking back. They weren't searching the crowd for a familiar face. They weren't scrutinizing every woman who passed to see if it was their mother. They didn't pause their fun to anxiously watch the park's paths. They were simply there, living in the moment, fully present. Noah felt a wave of emotion so strong he had to take several deep breaths. It was like witnessing a silent miracle, the end of the waiting. The moment the past loosened its cruel grip, letting the present finally exist completely. The girls ran in circles on the grass, then rolled on it, then ran again. Maya grabbed Luna by the waist and spun her around, both laughing so hard that other families watched, infected by their pure joy. When they finally tired, they came running back to him, faces flushed, eyes shining. "Did you see how high I went on the swing?" Luna asked, breathless. "I did," Noah replied, smiling. "You looked like you were flying." "And I made it to the top of the climbing wall," Maya said, rare pride in her voice. Twice. Are you hungry? I brought snacks. They sat on the bench, sharing sandwiches, fruit and juice. Luna babbled non-stop about each detail of her adventures. Maya ate in silence, but with a contentment that was new to her. Having fun? Noah asked. Yes, Luna immediately exclaimed. Maya glanced around at the playground, then at the blue sky and finally at Noah. It's the best day, she said simply. After the snack, they returned to the playground. This time, Noah was coaxed into participating. He pushed swings, caught them at the base of the slide, even tried the climbing wall under Maya's amused, critical eye. The day slipped by. The sun sank lower and many families had already left. Noah checked his watch. It's getting late, girls. Shall we go? To his surprise, there was no protesting. Perhaps because there was no fear this happiness would vanish. There would be other Sundays, other parks, other carefree runs. Can we come back next week? Luna asked, holding his hand on the way back to the car. Of course we can, he replied. Maya, on the other side, took his free hand, a rare gesture from her. Thanks for today, she said softly. Noah gently squeezed her hand. It was a special day, wasn't it? She nodded, her eyes distant as if processing something important. Today I didn't wait. 3 simple words brimming with meaning. Noah felt his throat tighten with emotion. Me neither, he replied. In the car on the way home, Luna fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted from so much fun. Maya gazed out the window, watching the city go by. You know what's funny? She said suddenly. Today I didn't even think to look. Look for what? Noah asked, though he knew the answer. To see if she was there, Maya said softly. I didn't even think about it. The silence that followed was light, almost luminous. The waiting, that ever-present companion, had dissolved in the spring sunlight. In its place was something new, the ability to be fully where you are with the people you're with. The shadows of the past would never disappear completely. There would be tough days, unanswered questions, scars time would ease but not erase. But today, on this perfect Sunday, 3 people had learned how to live in the present. And that, Noah thought as he drove home with his girls, was the real miracle. Fall was starting to paint New York's trees red and gold. A comfortable routine had settled among the 3 of them. Mondays were pizza and movie nights. On Wednesdays, Noah left work early to watch Luna's swim lessons. Saturdays, he took Maya to the library, where she could pick out as many books as she wanted. Their visits to Grand Central Station, once daily, became weekly, then bi-weekly, until one day Maya simply said, I don't think we need to go anymore. Noah didn't question it. He just nodded, knowing exactly what it meant. The apartment had been transformed. Framed photos now adorned walls once bare. The former guest room was definitively the girls' room, with shelves full of books and toys, colorful furniture, and a reading tent in the corner Noah had built one weekend. The provisional custody had been renewed without issue. The final adoption hearing was scheduled for 2 weeks away. All of the social workers' reports were positive. The lawyers assured him it was just a formality. That Thursday evening, Noah made the girls' favorite dinner, spaghetti and meatballs, the same meal he'd brought on the second day he met them at the station. Luna helped set the table, humming a tune she'd learned at school. Maya was focused on a complex puzzle on the living room table, a gift from Diane Bowes, Noah's secretary, who'd become like an aunt to the girls. Dinner's ready, Noah called. Luna rushed over. Maya carefully put away her puzzle pieces before joining them. They took their usual seats, Noah at the head, Maya on his right, Luna on his left. The meal was light-hearted, full of talk about school, weekend plans, and a lively debate about which movie to watch for Saturday movie night. It was such an ordinary scene, just a family eating together on a regular day. Yet for Noah, each moment shone with a nearly sacred brilliance. When they finished dessert, chocolate ice cream, another favorite from the start, Noah took a deep breath. He'd rehearsed this moment dozens of times, but now that it was here, words felt inadequate. Girls, he began, his tone more serious, drawing their attention. I need to talk to you about something important. Luna immediately looked worried. Did we do something wrong? No, no, Noah assured quickly. You didn't do anything wrong. It's about the future. Maya studied him with those perceptive eyes. What future? Noah took another deep breath. Remember that I was searching for your mom? Instantly, the atmosphere at the table shifted. Luna lowered her gaze to her empty plate. Maya froze, only a faint tremble in her chin betraying her emotion. I did try to find your mom, but couldn't, Noah said gently. I looked everywhere I could. Luna raised her wide, teary eyes. She's not coming back, is she? I don't know, little one, Noah answered honestly. I can't promise she'll never come back. But after so long, I think we need to accept that life went on. Maya nodded slowly, as if finally letting herself accept something she'd known for a long time. But, Noah continued, I want you to know that during that search, something amazing happened. His own eyes filled with tears, and he didn't try to hide them. I found you. And that saved me. Saved you from what? Luna asked, puzzled. Noah smiled through his tears. From loneliness, from emptiness, from a life full of things, but without meaning. Maya watched him intently, taking in every word. Before I met you, I had money, a company, everything I thought I needed, but I had no one to share it with. No morning laughter, no bedtime stories, no pictures on my fridge. Noah paused, swallowing the lump in his throat. No family. Luna placed her small hand on his across the table, a simple, deeply consoling gesture. In the next few days, we'll go to court for the final adoption hearing, Noah continued. That's when a judge officially decides if we can be a family in the eyes of the law. Will it happen? Luna asked anxiously. The lawyers say yes. All the reports are good. So we'll really be a family, Luna asked, hope transparent in her voice. Noah turned to Maya, who still hadn't spoken. Their eyes met. Maya, what do you think? The girl was silent for a moment, choosing her words. What if she comes back one day? The question hung, heavy with complexity. Noah took a deep breath. If she ever comes back, we'll face it together, he replied. You'll always be her daughters too, that will never change. Maya nodded, seeming satisfied with that answer. But what I want to ask you, Noah continued, his heart pounding, is whether you want me to be your dad, officially, not just legally, but for real. If you want us to be a family, not just on paper, but in our hearts. The silence that followed felt like it contained the entire universe. Noah felt as if time had stopped, as though everything depended on this single moment. Then, to his surprise, Maya spoke first. When you're sad, you make a sound in your throat. It's not quite a sigh, it's more like a She mimicked the sound softly. Noah blinked, confused by the sudden shift. And you always place the fork on the left side of your plate, Maya went on. And when you're focused, your forehead wrinkles in 3 lines here. She pointed to her own brow. When Luna has nightmares, you sing that song in Italian, even though you don't really know the words, and you keep her favorite cookies on the top shelf, thinking she can't reach them. Luna smiled, nodding. But I can reach them. And you leave the hallway light on even though it wastes power, because you know I don't like total darkness, Maya finished. Tears were streaming freely down Noah's face now. What are you saying, Maya? The girl exchanged a glance with Luna, a silent communication only sisters shared. Then both looked at him. We already feel like we are, Maya said simply. Are what? Asked Noah, though he already knew. A family, Luna replied, as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. Right there at the dinner table, dishes still on it, chocolate ice cream melting. A conversation that would change their lives. Noah Matthews realized what it truly meant to be rich. Then, he said, voice trembling with emotion, will you let me be your dad officially? Luna jumped from her chair and ran to hug him. Yes, yes, yes. Maya rose more calmly, but her smile was radiant. She walked around the table and joined the hug, the 3 of them forming a perfect circle. Yes, she said softly. We accept. The New York County Family Court was in an imposing building downtown. On that Friday morning, Noah, Maya, and Luna climbed the marble steps with nervous excitement. The girls wore new dresses, chosen especially for the occasion, Noah wore his best suit. In the waiting room, they met Marianne Cooper, who greeted them warmly. "Ready?" she asked. "We've been ready since that first day at the station," Noah replied. The courtroom was a welcoming space designed for family cases. Judge Carson, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, presided. "Good morning, everyone," she greeted. "We're here to finalize the adoption of Maya and Luna Lopez by Mr. Noah Matthews." The process was surprisingly quick. The judge reviewed the reports, asked the girls a few questions, all answered enthusiastically. "Mr. Matthews," Judge Carson said, "the court has thoroughly reviewed your case. All reports indicate you have provided a stable, loving, and safe home for these children." Noah nodded, too emotional to speak. "There's the matter of the surname," the judge continued. "Will they keep Lopez or adopt Matthews?" Noah looked at the girls. They'd discussed this at home but wanted to decide officially in court. "Matthews Lopez," Maya said firmly. "We want both." The judge smiled. "An excellent choice. Preserves the past while embracing the future." She signed the final documents with a golden pen. "By the power vested in me by the state of New York, I declare this adoption process complete. Maya and Luna Lopez are now legally and officially Maya and Luna Matthews Lopez, daughters of Noah Matthews, with all the rights and responsibilities that implies." The judge beamed. "Congratulations, Matthews Lopez family." Luna let out a little squeal of joy. Maya smiled, her eyes shining. Noah hugged them both, not caring that his tears were rolling freely. That night, after a day of celebrations that included morning ice cream, lunch at a special restaurant, and a stroll through Central Park, Noah tucked the girls in. Luna fell asleep almost instantly, worn out by so much excitement. Maya, as usual, resisted a bit longer. "Are you happy?" Noah asked, sitting on the edge of her bed. Maya nodded, smiling that contained smile that was so her own. "Yes." "Me too," he said, adjusting the blanket over her. "Noah," Maya said, using his name as she rarely did now. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course, anything." "When did you know that you wanted to be our dad?" Noah thought for a moment. "I think from the very first day at the station, but I only admitted it to myself the night of the storm, when you stayed here for the first time." Maya nodded, satisfied. "I knew that day too, when you came back for us in the rain." "Really?" "Yeah," she said, yawning, "because Mom's leave, but you always came back." Noah felt his heart constrict. "I always will, Maya." "I promise." "I know," she said, her eyes closing. "That's why we're a family." When she finally dozed off, Noah remained seated between the two beds, watching his daughters, officially now, on paper, recognized by the law and the world. But they all knew the documents only confirmed what their hearts had decided long ago, a bond sealed not by blood or paper, but by the daily choice to love, to care, to be present. In that quiet moment, between the day ending and the future beginning, Noah Matthews finally understood what it meant to be part of something bigger than himself. 3 distinct lives, 3 different stories, now woven into a single narrative. 1 heart in 3 bodies. The adoption was approved. Documents signed, rooms prepared, school arranged. But nothing changed as much as what had already changed inside them, the unwavering certainty that they had each other. Now they were a family in the legal sense too. But the love had been official long before that. 6 months had passed since the official adoption. The apartment, once a reflection of Noah's professional success, now pulsed with a different energy, the energy of a true home. On the walls, alongside expensive artwork, hung colorful drawings. In the cabinets, amid crystal glasses, were plastic cups with princesses and superheroes. On the Italian leather sofa, handcrafted pillows from the school's art classes. It was a Sunday in spring. In the kitchen, Noah and Luna were making pancakes, a sacred Sunday tradition. Luna, wearing her purple apron, was officially in charge of adding the chocolate chips, a job she took very seriously. "More chocolates, Dad?" Noah still smiled every time he heard that word. "I think we already have enough chocolate to sink a ship, kiddo." "There's never enough chocolate," she replied, sneaking in a few more chips when he turned around. In the living room, Maya sprawled on the sofa, reading aloud to her one audience member, her stuffed rabbit, Mr. Ears, strategically placed to listen to every word. At 9, Maya had discovered a passion for writing and was now creating her own pirate stories. After breakfast, they sat together on the couch. It was bad movie day, another tradition. Films so bad they became funny. Today's selection was Attack of the Flying Sharks, Maya's pick, which made Luna hide her face at the scary parts, even though the special effects were hilariously awful. Later, Noah sat on the floor while Maya taught him how to braid Luna's hair. "Dad, it's all crooked," Luna complained, checking in the mirror. "I'm doing the best I can," he protested, laughing. "Give me a few more weeks of practice." Evening came, bringing the usual routine: bath, pajamas, bedtime stories. Noah kissed Luna's forehead and was about to switch off the light when she grabbed his arm. "Do you think we'll stay together forever?" she asked, her big eyes serious in the dim light. Noah sat down again on the edge of the bed. Maya, across the room, pretended to keep reading, but her ears were obviously tuned in. "We already have stayed," Noah replied softly. "Now we just keep doing it." The simplicity of his answer dispelled all complexities. Luna smiled and closed her eyes. Maya shut her book and looked at Noah, giving him that small smile that said everything. In that quiet room, 3 hearts beat in perfect unison. Together, they had done the hardest part: finding each other, recognizing each other, choosing each other. The rest, as Noah had said, was just continuing. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next ones. Leave a like, because it helps this story get recommended to more people. See you in the next story.